Hello, everybody. Welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC. Give me just a second to make sure those who need Spanish interpretation can get the number. Buenas tardes. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con SOC. Como siempre, ustedes pueden escuchar el programa en español a través de una llamada de conferencia y el número que hay que marcar aparece aquí en la pantalla. 646-749-3122. Y luego hay que introducir la contraseña, cual es 779-328-221. If you have any issues with interpretation, please comment and we will make sure to figure that out. Si hay problema con la interpretación, me dejan saber y tratamos de arreglarlo. Again, welcome to 3 o'clock with SOC and happy Black History Month. Though it's a history we try to celebrate throughout the whole year here at SOC and how we should be celebrating the whole year everywhere. I want to remind everyone that the forums that we have and the information that we get from the guests is always on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. So you can always access these videos after the live if you aren't able to be with us at 3 o'clock on the dot. I'm Gabe Charles. I'm the Civic Engagement Manager here with SOC. And I have Maria in the background doing production and comments today. So thank you so much, Maria, for making sure I'm not alone doing this. And I also just want to make sure everyone knows that you can still reach out to us through many platforms. You can give us a call at 414-672-8090. You can email us at soc@socmilwaukee.org, or you can check out our website, www.socmilwaukee.org. I also want to remind folks that we still have our survey open and we love getting the feedback from people that watch the forum to let us know what you think, how we're doing, what we could do better, what topics you want to see. At the end of the day, we're doing this for residents, so please let us know your thoughts and help us shape what this forum becomes moving forward. And then also, I just want to make sure everyone knows that SOC staff is still working virtually. We're not doing any work in person. And that's why you see me on the screen without a mask, because I am working from home. But if we were working in person in the office, we would absolutely have our masks on to make sure we're abiding by the mask mandate and keeping everyone safe, ourselves and our loved ones and our coworkers. I'd love to know who's here today. If you're watching, go ahead and comment, give us a like, give us a heart, say hello in the comments. We always love to have your comments and questions in the comment section. So go ahead and do that at any point, even if you're watching this later than 3 p.m. I also just want to provide a disclaimer that the views and opinions shared today do not necessarily reflect those of SOC. We always give our guests the full breadth of expressing themselves and their opinions, but SOC cannot always condone everything, but we always love to give voice and open forum to those who come on the forum. So today we're going to have Maudwella Kirkendoll on with us, the Chief Operating Officer and Director of Community Advocates, and we're going to be talking about rent and energy assistance through community advocates. On Tuesday, we're going to see some really cool videos that the SOC youth organizers made regarding Black History Month and celebrating that. Then Wednesday, we're going to have Michelle Crame on from the Menominee Valley Partners. Thursday, we'll have Claire Evers, the Deputy Commissioner of Environmental Health from the Milwaukee Health Department, for a COVID update. And then Friday, we've invited Black leaders organizing communities to come on. And we look forward to talking with all of these guests throughout the week. So you don't want to miss any of the days. Make sure you tune in after, even if you're unable to be with us at 3. So now I'd just like to bring on Maudwella Kirkendoll, the Chief Operating Officer and Director of Community Advocates, so we can get to talking about what kind of resources they have for residents. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. So glad you were able to be with us.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and you've been such a faithful and loyal guest with us, always coming on to give updates, and we really appreciate that. This is information that residents really, really need.
Oh yeah, definitely excited about giving the information out. I know we're some trying times right now, so I definitely want to make sure that individuals know there are resources out there that can assist with just getting through day to day here.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't you go ahead and just start by introducing yourself, talking a little bit about your role at Community Advocates, and then we'll get into the resources.
Okay, hi. So again, my name is Maudwella Kirkendoll. I'm Chief Operating Officer of Community Advocates. I've been here for 21 years now.
Wow.
My plan was to be here for about 6 months and move on to something different. And again, 21 years later, in probably 10 different positions, I'm here now in this role and excited about what we've done over the last 5 years and what we will continue to do over the next 5 or 10 years. A
I
lot
love
more.
that you've been there that long. That really means something, I think.
Oh yeah, it's a tough place to leave once you're here. So
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, so then why don't you then talk about all the kinds of things that community advocates does in general, because there's a lot.
yeah, definitely. So community advocates, it's comprised of 4 different divisions, and a lot of people don't know all the things we do. We have our basic needs division, which I'll talk more about today, which is our housing, energy assistance, healthcare, and disability services. And then we also have a different division that provides services for individuals that are chronically homeless and have mental health issues. And that goes under our behavioral health division. We also have a Milwaukee Women's Center division, and that under that umbrella is our shelter for families that are experiencing homelessness. We have a shelter for families that are victims of domestic violence. We have an older abused women program, and then we also provide drug treatment services, day treatment services as well under that division. And lastly, we have our public policy division, and that division basically works with politicians, community activists, different individuals within the organization to kind of come up with policy recommendations so that we can reduce the number of people that are coming through our doors and doors of other agencies.
Yeah, it's so vital, all of those sections. And I remember I did a little bit of work with community advocates with alternatives to incarceration and reentry initiatives and things like that. So I just remember thinking of or learning about all the things that you all did, and it was really, really amazing. But yeah, so then why don't you go ahead and start talking about the different assistance that's available for folks?
Definitely. I'll talk about energy assistance first. I think that's one of our stable programs we've had for some time now. That particular program, there's several things that we do in that program. I think the first thing I'd like to talk about is just applying generally for energy assistance. Anyone can apply. They can go online to www.keepwarmmke. They can also call 414-270-4653, or they can call 211 to schedule an appointment. What energy assistance does is provides a one-time benefit for families and individuals that have energy costs. So anyone that meets the income guidelines can apply for energy assistance and receive a benefit. The income guidelines are relatively high, roughly 200% of the federal poverty level. So that gets us in a position where most working individuals, I think in the central city, a lot of them are eligible, I should say. Generally, we serve about 50 to 60,000 households a year. Let's just kind of put things in perspective. Also, once you apply for energy assistance, that you become eligible for other things such as crisis assistance. So crisis assistance is, again, just another payment that we can apply towards your utility costs to help reduce that annual heating burden. And then that particular crisis varies. I mean, right now, if individuals call, we can pay up to $600 additional on top of the energy assistance if they're eligible for that crisis benefit. So people can walk away by simply making a 15 or 30-minute phone call with a $1,000 benefit. So we strongly encourage individuals to apply. And the other thing that most people don't know is that if your furnace goes out and you're eligible for energy assistance, so you're a homeowner, your furnace goes out, your income eligible for energy assistance, we can repair or replace your furnace free of charge.
Oh, wow.
No cost whatsoever to the individual homeowner. And then also, if there's tenants, you're a landlord and there's tenants in your property, but you're eligible for energy assistance and the tenant's eligible, we can also do repairs on some rental properties as well. So it's important that, again, if you're questioning it, you're not sure, give us a call and we can work with you. Another thing I just want to talk about, the general energy assistance benefit is, I've seen them around $350, but I've seen them up to $800. So again, the key is if you think you're eligible, please call. We'll do the assessment. We'll let you know right away. And we'll get that ball rolling, and then you're eligible for all these other services. The last service that I want to mention that falls under the Energy Assistance Program, the HE Plus program, is weatherization. So individuals that apply for energy assistance automatically become eligible to be in the pool for weatherization for their homes. And again, weatherization is based upon the actual home, not the person in the home. So you could actually be in one property today and it's eligible for weatherization, and you move 6 months from now, and if that property is eligible and they're selected, they can get that property weatherized as well. The key is applying for energy assistance, and I just want to make sure I'm clear. So that program falls under the state Decker division and under the Department of Administration, but it bundles through Milwaukee County, and Milwaukee County contracts with community advocates, UMOS, and 201 to provide those services.
Yeah, wow, that is really, really interesting information. You mentioned that with energy assistance, it's a one-time assistance, meaning that if you get energy assistance one time, you can't ever get it again.
I apologize.
Can you clarify that?
Yes. So it's one time per season. The heating season starts generally October 1, and it goes through, in most years, May 15th. However, because of the crisis we're facing now, the pandemic, we've extended it, and you can apply year-round.
Okay.
And get a benefit. In the past, you can apply up until May 15th and get a benefit. And if you applied after, the only thing you would be eligible for would be the crisis or furnace services or things of that nature, not the actual energy assistance benefit. Now it's, they've made it year-round temporarily. And so again, we just are encouraging people just to apply sooner than later. Keep in mind, right now is a very slow period. So if you want to get in and apply, this is the time to do it. To at least get your appointment scheduled. And we can get you in and get that benefit to you and your household.
Yeah, I can only imagine that the pandemic has increased the amount of people that are calling y'all. Can you shed light on that? How this pandemic has increased just the number of people you have calling and requesting those sorts of benefits? Yeah,
we look at our numbers regularly in terms of the call volume. During the peak season, which would be the beginning of the season, October 1st, we were receiving upwards near 20,000 calls a month, 20 to 30,000 calls a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, again, just kind of getting people in the queue, getting there. Of course, we couldn't do 20,000 appointments. So we were just getting people scheduled. And the thing about the new process is you could, make your appointment. You don't sit in line. You don't have to come down anymore. Everything is over the phone. 15 to 30 minutes, you're in and basically that phone call occurs and you're done. We don't have to mail you anything. Documentation that we do need from individuals, we allow you to send over via fax, email, text message, or you can come into our drop box and just put it in the mailbox there. We have a drop box in our lobby. So things have been made very simple to make sure everyone is safe during this time. And so we're just kind of, again, encourage individuals to come.
Yeah, that's really good to know. Then why don't we go right into rent assistance and how that works?
Yeah. I'm sorry. One last thing I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Last year, they put a new process in place. So individuals, if you don't want to wait in line, if you don't want to make an appointment, if you feel tech savvy, you can go online and make your own appointment. You can do your own application online as well. So you don't have to go through any of the agencies. You can simply go online and apply for energy assistance. So that's there.
So that would be in lieu of having that 20 or 30-minute phone call then, because you put your application in on your own.
On your own, yes. And they say the application process that way may take a little longer, but again, you're submitting everything at your own leisure.
Okay. Can you repeat the phone number and website for that?
Sure. So the phone number is 414-270-4653, which is 270-4MKE. And then the website is keepwarmmke.org.
Okay, great.
All right. Now back to the rent.
Yes, rent.
Yep. But the other exciting thing that we're able to do during this time is provide rental assistance. We partner with Milwaukee County, some of the other foundations, Bader Foundation, United Way, and other entities that assisted with providing financial resources for people that have been affected by COVID. So if you have a loss of income, wages, hours due to COVID, you can apply on our website, communityadvocates.net, and we can provide rental assistance for that amount of time that you've had that loss. So we're seeing individuals, of course, they've been off of work for 8 or 9 months now, and we've been able to pay rent for that amount of time for those individuals. There was a cap, I should say, of $5,000 for that rental assistance. But we're going into a new phase soon, and there will be additional resources that technically ended at the end of December or January. I'm sorry. And now we're going into a new phase where there's some additional funding that will be online. That will allow us to do even more for individuals that have been affected by COVID. And the other exciting thing today is actually our go live date. We've created an online application. You can go to our website, fill out the online application yourself, submit your documentation, and it smooths out the process and makes it relatively quick and simple. We work very closely with the tenant and the landlord to make sure everyone's aware of what's going on. And of course, with that particular program, the volume has been very high. So just for the month of December alone, we had 21,000 individuals come to our website and take a look. I think overall we've had about 12,000 applications.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's honestly just, I can't imagine the situations people must be in and how many people are in those situations.
Yeah.
So it's really special that you all can provide that. You mentioned a $5,000 cap per applicant, I assume, or per household.
Household, yes.
And is that then going to be the cap for this next phase, or do you have an idea of what that cap would be?
That will not be the cap from my understanding. We are still going through the regulations. You know, it's kind of one of those things where hurry up, spin, and we'll tell you what happens later with the regulations. So we have been doing a little homework, and it looks like, and don't quote me yet, but from what we're reading, it will be a 12-month cap. So we're not looking at a dollar amount, but we're looking at the amount of months.
Okay.
So that will be, especially nice for those families who may not get back to work anytime soon.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. And we will definitely be waiting anxiously for that final number as it comes out. And then what about you all as an organization? Does that mean that you have rolling funding for this based on the amount of people that apply, or do people need to be worried that suddenly now, based on your partnerships or whatever, community advocates or your partners are out of money and they can't do it anymore?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the potential of money running out. We don't envision that happening anytime soon. So this next round of funding is available through the end of the year, provided we don't go through it. We also have, inklings that there may be additional funding. So we're not as worried right now about running out of money, to be quite honest with you. There's going to be other pots of money. So SDC, Social Development Commission, will be having some financial resources soon. Again, I want to just kind of plug also Housing Resources, Inc. So if you're a homeowner facing foreclosure, one of our great partners, Housing Resources, Inc., reach out to them and they can assist as well.
Yeah, they've come on a number of times as well, and they extended their application deadline for foreclosure assistance. So yeah, definitely a good plug there too. Well, great. That's all really important information. We're really glad that you all are able to provide that to residents, and especially with the streamlined way of doing it online is really, really amazing. Can you say the rent assistance website? Is it the same?
It's actually, you can go to our community advocates website. So it's rent help at communityadvocates.net. And then you can also call 414-270-4646. But also on our website, we have the direct link to apply now. So you can simply click on that link and apply online, and we'll get the ball rolling for you. I mean, this will definitely streamline the process. I mean, before, just to kind of put things in perspective and be quite honest, COVID happened quick. We got funding quick, and we were scrambling to hire staff and get a process in place. And so I think over these 6 to 7 months, we figured out we need to streamline it even more. Provide different options for applying, and that's why we've developed this online application. So things should be looking a lot better. And again, with the funding coming, there's potentially $10 million worth of funding that'll be available. And just to kind of put things in perspective, last year for the month of June through I guess the end of last month, we were able to process $10 million in applications.
Amazing.
Out the door.
I love that. Money in people's pockets so they aren't being evicted is so, so important.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. Are there any strings attached to this money? Any cost to the application?
No. If anyone says there's a cost to the application, a cost to help with foreclosure mediation, it's a scam. There's no cost. You go online, we get you set up. You actually online now, you get your own account once you set up. So you have your own account and you can check the process as we go along. So if there's missing documentation, all that stuff would be there. So yeah, that definitely shouldn't be a burden. We also, just so you know, we will be reaching out to landlords as well, because they're, at this point in time, we have to look at everyone as a partner.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to reach out to landlords and say, hey, if you have some tenants that are behind, let us know. We can do outreach to those individuals, because sometimes, some people don't want to ask for help because they've never had to. And COVID has made things a bit challenging. And so we want to make sure that even those individuals that, haven't applied before or feeling ashamed of having to apply, we want to make sure that they're comfortable and make things as easy as possible for those individuals.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and it's, if anything, it's, I'm not in the situation myself, but I would just say not have pride, because everyone, look at how many people were applying. It's not you, it's not just you. Don't have pride. Get out there and fill out the application if it's going to help you and your family in the long run. And then so a lot of people that live in our district are Spanish speaking and may not have documentation. What resources do you have available to people who might not be documented?
Yeah, it's a good question. We have, so when I talk about our other partners like United Way, the Bader Foundation, Greater Milwaukee Foundation, they provided financial resources for rental assistance, and there are no strings attached. There are no questions about citizenship status or anything like that. So we can provide assistance at this point in time, whether you're a legal citizen or not. So if you don't feel afraid, come and apply and we will work with you. The interesting thing is that this new round of funding, there have been talks about it becoming that new big pot of money being eligible for undocumented individuals. So that would be great, because again, the money from the foundation, while great, it's not $10 million. So it would be great to be able to assist as many individuals as possible.
Great. Well, we'll definitely be listening for that as well. And then, does your website have Spanish applications or information?
I know that we were working on that for that website as well. Because it actually went live today. So the first phase of it went live today. So I'll do a little more research on that to see what happened with that. I do want to just make sure it's clear. We have hired, and during the process, we've hired about 20 to 25 staff, and I would say about 30 to 40% of our Spanish speaking.
Excellent.
So we are definitely equipped to work with all populations. So don't feel afraid to call. We will definitely be looking forward to assisting you.
Thank you so much for all of this information. Is there anything else you want to leave with us?
Yep. The one last thing I found out today, and this is, again, going back to, we talk about health insurance. We don't want to become, burdened with health insurance or health bills later on down the line if you're not working. So the marketplace is opening up again for a few months. And so I'm encouraging individuals, I'll send you the link, but I'm encouraging individuals to apply for health insurance if they don't have it through the marketplace. And they'll also assist you if you're eligible for like state insurance. They'll work with you through the entire process and let you know what your options are. So I'll send that link out. I think that's also important, because again, we don't want to get out of this crisis and then be straddled with all this debt. So.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you for sharing that and for reminding us that marketplace is going to be opening again, because yes, we don't want to see people getting bogged down with those sorts of bills.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again for being with us. We always look forward to your updates and all the resources that Community Advocates has for residents. It's really, really needed in this time, and we're thankful.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Again, big thank you to Community Advocates Maudwella Kirkendoll for coming on and giving us those updates, and especially good news about rent assistance being available for 12 more months. And so again, if you have any questions about that, you can reach out to Community Advocates. All of those different phone numbers, emails, and websites are in the comment section. You can also reach out to SOC and we can get you connected through there if it's a little overwhelming for all of you. But yeah, really, really amazing help offered by Community Advocates. Please don't hesitate to reach out to them. Even if you don't think you would qualify, it does not hurt to talk to somebody. or to shoot in an application. And I know a lot of thing on a lot of people's minds right now is this snow emergency. There's still snow everywhere. A lot of streets are not fully plowed yet. So I just want to share a couple weeks ago, like a week and a half ago, we had someone from the Department of Public Works on who was from the parking division talking about different scenarios that happen when a snow emergency occurs. So I just want to share a part of that interview with them. It's with Tom Wozniak, who's the parking services manager with the city of Milwaukee. And it just goes over the different rules of a snow emergency for parking. So I want to share that with all of you right now, and then I will announce a little bit about the specifics with these dates happening right now afterwards.
Then we'll cover specifically snow emergency regulations. So a couple of years ago, we transitioned to a citywide snow emergency regulation, which requires alternate side parking from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. on all city streets unless otherwise posted. There's no parking on those through highways and bus routes at the same time, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then there's progressive fines for our snow emergency parking violations. So the first fine is $50, a second fine in the same winter season, which starts in October or so. We hope it's less than that like this year, but it can start as early as then. A second citation of the same kind is $100. And then a third and subsequent violation is $150. Plus that vehicle is then eligible to be towed upon issuance of that citation. Historically, we see a lot of vehicles with recurring violations during snow emergencies, and the hope is that these fines will deter that behavior. We want those vehicles to not be there. We want them to abide and comply with the rules, and that is the reason for those escalating or progressive fines. And then general night parking regulations. Alternate side parking is required throughout the city, except for areas which two-side parking is allowed, and there are many streets on the south side in which that is allowed. A permit is required as well. There's no parking in the public portion of any alley from 2 to 6 a.m., and vehicles must be moved every 24 hours. And on the streets which do allow two-sided parking, that is every 48 hours. And then to stay informed, we encourage everyone to sign up for parking alerts. That's available on the link there and on our website at milwaukee.gov/parking. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Milwaukee DPW. Nextdoor updates are available to city residents, and you're also welcome to call 286-CITY for information. If you go to milwaukee.gov/parking and you go to parking regulations, there's a map on that site. In that map, you can just type in your address. You can scroll, look at all the streets. Where you see a green street, that allows two-sided parking. Where you see a red street, that does not allow night parking. Those are those through highways and bus routes. And then there's also information on that site. It has a Google Translate bar, so you can go to there, switch to whatever language you want to on that site. And then you can also scroll down at the bottom and look for resources for off-street parking. So there are 6 MPS slots, and there's one on the south side at 1817 West Lincoln Avenue. That elementary school there has about 75 spaces, and we plow that one for every snow emergency. So we do want vehicles to park there as a resource. And there's also several other parking lots available, many on the south side, South 10th, South 12th, South 13th Street, which have quite a bit of parking available. You do need a night parking permit like you do on the street, but those are great resources for you to access and use to be able to get your car off the street. So we can find, oh, thank you for pulling that up. So there's the map. That's great information. Thanks for pulling that up. And then as you scroll down, this is a lot of the information we already talked about. And a little bit farther down on the screen is that map there under street parking alternatives. So a little bit up from there. that one link right there under street parking alternatives. So if you click on that, that'll open a new window. And then in this window, you'll see as you scroll down that these are the locations. Lincoln Avenue School is the one I mentioned. And then here's the other ones. And the full list is at that little link there, a full list. If you want to see specifically all the addresses, it starts with east and then north and then south side lots. The most of our lots are on the south side. There's many on the north side, but we do even have more on the south side. And there's a lot of parking available. So we really do want to encourage vehicle owners who need off-street parking, in particular who need to park on that opposite side, to do that, to look for those resources and options and to park in those locations during a snow emergency.
So again, I just want to remind everyone that there are currently, so with the date, it has to do with the date, which side of the street you park on. So on an odd date, you would park on the odd side of the street with odd addresses. On an even date, you would park on the even side during a snow emergency. But because the 31st, yesterday, was a odd day, and so is today, February 1st, there is a suspension in the snow emergency today. So you can park on both sides of the street today, and tomorrow, February 2nd, you will have to park on the even side. The snow emergency regulations will resume. So keep in mind that tomorrow you need to be on the even side of the street, and with the suspension today, you don't have to worry about it. And then there are all those lots that he mentioned in his presentation that you can park at if you have a night parking permit. But if you have any specific questions, please reach out to us. I know we've been getting a lot of calls too about alleyways and how there's still a lot of snow in alleyways and not everybody is taking care of it, and people have not, sorry, I'm seeing some comments come in that I'll mention in a second. But if you have some issues with snow in your alleyway, there are different private companies and resources that are on the City of Milwaukee website, because unfortunately the city does not always go through the alleys. So let us know if you need help with that. But what we suggest, and it's unfortunate that the city doesn't do this, but what we suggest is getting in touch with your neighbors and all putting in money to hire someone to clear out the alleyway. And if you feel upset about that and frustrated, that is something that connects to the movement to defund the police. So the movement to defund the police is mostly talking about reallocating the money or switching the money that goes to the police budget to city services like snow removal. So if this is something you're frustrated about, you might want to look more into that movement or being more involved in the budget process of the city, because if you feel these are services that should happen, like getting snow removed from your alley, it's definitely connected to having a refunded community and getting correct funding to city services that residents rely on to get around and to get to work and to get to school and to get to the grocery store and things like that. The comment, and if again, please reach out to SOC with any questions about that and we'll get you those resources. We have Esperanza Gutierrez in the comments saying that we would like to inform people that February 16th, we have an election for state superintendent for public instruction. So definitely be aware of what's going on with that. We will be updating folks on the forum in the coming days about that as well. But these local elections are so important, and we want to make sure that we are voting in them. I know the presidential election is over, but that does not mean that there aren't other elections that are happening. So thank you, Esperanza, for bringing that up. And we will definitely be sharing more information as in the coming days about that election. Next, I have a video that Marlene prepared for us in regard to radon, I believe. So go ahead and play that.
If you live in a house with a basement, the chances are you've had a radon test. But what do the numbers mean, and just how safe or dangerous is it if they're below or above the recommended exposure level? Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas. It's one of those substances that it's pretty much impossible to avoid, as it's constantly being produced by other materials in the Earth's crust. And because it's radioactive, it has the potential to cause lung cancer if you inhale it at high levels for long enough. For most of us, this isn't worth worrying about too much, as we can't avoid breathing small amounts of the gas. But if you're living in an area where there are high levels of radon, it can be an issue. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be an exposure level where radon doesn't increase the risk of cancer. And because of this, radiation protection specialists recommend levels in homes are kept as low as you can reasonably get them. But what does this mean if you find yourself living somewhere with high radon levels? In the US, the Environmental Protection Agency recommends you take action to reduce radon levels if they're above 4 picocuries per litre. The World Health Organization is a little bit more conservative here and suggests you do something about it if the levels are above 2.7 picocuries per litre. The good news, though, is that for most people, it's not too hard to get indoor concentrations below the EPA action level. But if you are stuck with high radiation levels, how do you know what the additional risk is? To get a handle on this, we need to look at the chances of being killed by this invisible gas. Each year in the US, around 155,000 people a year die from lung cancer. And of these, something like 21,000 deaths are associated with radon. Many of these, though, are also connected with smoking. Separating out the non-smokers, around 2,900 people a year die from radon-related lung cancer. This is a serious number of deaths, but because of the number of people living in the US, the actual risk of dying from radon exposure in any given year is not that high. On average, something like 9,000 people out of every million in the US die each year. 500 people out of every million die from lung cancer, and 70 people out of every million die because they've been exposed to radon for a number of years. But when you only consider people who don't smoke, only 10 people out of every million die from radon exposure. Another way of looking at this is to ask what the chances are that when you die, radon was the cause. And here it turns out that when you pop your clogs, there's around about a 1 to 2 in 1,000 chance that radon will be to blame. It's somewhat comforting to know that if you're inhaling radon, the chances are that something else will kill you first. But this doesn't answer the question of how much safer you'll be if you reduce your radon exposure. Here the science is a little unclear, but research suggests that there's around about a 4% increase in your chances of getting cancer from inhaling radon for every 1 picocurie per litre increase in your average exposure. This is over a lifetime of exposure, though. A few days or weeks inhaling high levels of radon isn't that risky. It's the day-in, day-out exposure over tens of years that's important. Using this estimate of risk versus exposure, it turns out that if the average exposure level for radon was increased by 2 picocuries per litre across the United States, we'd expect something like 5 additional radon-related deaths per million people each year. Likewise, if we reduced the average exposure level by 2 picocuries per litre, there'd be 5 fewer radon-related deaths per million people each year on average. In other words, small increases and decreases in exposure do make something of a difference, and this is why it's important to keep your radon exposure as low as you can possibly get it. But if you're just over the recommended levels, it's not something to panic about. And if you're below the recommended levels but can't afford to go lower still, it's probably not worth worrying over. That said, it's always worth taking radon seriously and taking action to keep your exposures low if you can. For more information on radon safety, do check out the links in the blurb below. And as always, stay safe.
Thanks for preparing that video, Marlene. And now I want to share the survey promo to get you all to do the survey that we have in the comments.
Has this live forum been informative and useful to you? What part of the forum could be improved or changed to make it better? Please take a quick survey that's located in the comments section so that we can keep 3 o'clock with SOC going for residents. Thank you for tuning in.
And I just want to remind you all that we've got a really great lineup of guests this week. Tomorrow, we're going to see some really cool videos from the SOC youth organizers regarding Black History Month. And on Wednesday, we're going to hear from Michelle Crame from Menominee Valley Partners, talking about what the services that they do. Then on Thursday, we'll have Claire Evers on, the Deputy Commissioner of Environmental Health from the Milwaukee Public Health Department, giving another COVID update. And on Friday, we will have Black leaders organizing communities come on. So we've got some really great guests. Please join us throughout this week or view our videos after the fact. Leave comments, say hello, leave likes or hearts or whatever it is you want to leave so that we know you're watching no matter what time you're watching. And I do always just want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with everyone who is experiencing any kind of health concerns regarding COVID, anyone who has experienced loss because of COVID. Our thoughts and prayers are with you always. And reach out to us if there's anything that we can do for anyone. And with that, I'll leave you all with a thank you video.
I'm Juan. And I'm Mitzi. We would like to thank everyone for supporting our 3 o'clock with SOC live show.
And for completing our SOC survey.
In addition to thanking our residents and tuning in and sharing our show.
We would also like to thank our sponsors.
Catholic Campaign for Human Development.
Wisconsin Voices.
City Development Block Grant.
Zebler Foundation.
City of Milwaukee Office of Violence Prevention.
Movement Voter Project. Tide Foundation.
City of Milwaukee Promise Zone.
12th District Alderman Jose Perez.
All the faithful individuals who support SOC
through their personal donations.
Thank you.